All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and today we're going to be talking about black cats.
Oh.
Um, Pretty interesting topic, actually. Lots of really interesting stuff to unpack.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dig into this one.
So we've got some historical stuff going back hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some cultural stuff about the significance of black cats.
Right.
And, we're just going to look at the truth behind some of these myths and superstitions.
Absolutely.
Because there's good luck, bad luck, all this stuff surrounding black cats. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how these beliefs sort of, they differ across cultures and across time periods.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I guess let's just kick things off with, the most well-known thing about black cats, which is their association with witches.
Right.
And this whole idea of bad luck. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so, I mean, if we go back, way back, to medieval Europe.
Okay.
It was a time when, people were very superstitious.
Solid. Very, very religious, and they really feared anything that was unknown or different.
Okay.
And so black cats, just because of their color, they're often seen in the dark.
Right.
They kind of became this easy target for these fears.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine, in those times, if someone saw a black cat, darting out of like a shadowy corner, or even worse, running into a house that was suspected of being a witch's house.
I see.
It wouldn't take much for people to start thinking, oh, that cat's not just a cat, that's a witch's familiar.
Right.
It's like a demonic spy.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the witch herself transformed into a cat.
That's I mean, you can see how that would take hold, especially in those times.
Absolutely. And this belief, as these things often do, it spread like wildfire throughout Europe.
Yeah.
And it really had some pretty tragic consequences.
Yeah, I mean, especially during the witch hunts.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, you think about the witch hunts that swept through Europe and then even later in America with the Salem witch trials.
Right.
Black cats were just seen as symbols of evil, and they were often killed right alongside the people who were accused of witchcraft.
So it's kind of crazy to think how this, just this simple superstition could actually lead to such violence.
Yeah, it's a really dark chapter in history, for sure. But it's interesting, though, because alongside all this darkness, there's this whole other side to black cat lore, where they're seen as symbols of good luck.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. How do we reconcile these two?
It's a fascinating duality.
Right, opposing views, yeah.
Right. I mean, it really shows how powerful culture is in shaping our perceptions.
Yeah.
So while you had this fear and superstition in some parts of the world, other cultures viewed black cats through a totally different lens. And I think, one of the best examples of this is ancient Egypt, where cats, and especially black cats, were highly revered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were associated with this powerful goddess named Bastet, who represented protection, fertility, and home. So very positive things.
Right.
And this reference probably stemmed from, the very practical role that cats played in Egyptian society.
Right.
I mean, they were expert pest controllers.
Oh, I see.
They kept all those rodents away from their vital grain stores.
Yeah.
So in a way, they were seen as these guardians.
Right.
Their presence brought good fortune and even this sense of divine protection.
It was like they started out as this practical thing, a helper, and then elevating to this higher status.
Exactly.
It's interesting how that happens.
Yeah, and this whole idea of black cats bringing good luck, it's not just limited to Egypt. You see it across different cultures, across different continents. For example, in Japan, they're associated with luck in love.
Oh, okay.
In England, if you receive a black cat as a wedding gift, that's supposed to bring good luck to your marriage.
Interesting.
In Scotland, a black cat arriving on your doorstep signifies prosperity.
Okay.
Sailors used to believe that black cats would ensure safe voyages.
Wow.
Even in France, seeing a black cat is supposed to mean that something magical is about to happen.
Huh. Yeah, so really all over the place, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so we've got this duality with black cats.
Yeah.
Good, bad.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think that is? Is it just because we don't really understand them?
I think it's a lot of that,
Yeah.
I think it speaks to our complex relationship with the natural world, and we try to find meaning in things that we don't fully understand, especially things that we might be a little afraid of.
I believe it. Yeah.
But, speaking of understanding, I think it's time to address this common misconception that I hear a lot.
Okay.
That black cats are adopted less frequently than other cats. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. That
Hmm.
they're just left in the shelters.
You know, it's a myth that's been circulating for a while now, but the research just doesn't really back it up.
Okay.
Adoption rates don't really show any bias against black cats.
Really?
Yeah. However, I will say that, some shelter workers
Yeah.
still feel that there's a bit of a stigma against
Yeah.
black cats. And
Yep.
that might be because of these lingering superstitions that we've been talking about.
Mhm.
But hopefully, as we continue to debunk these myths,
Yeah.
more and more people will open up their hearts and their homes to these wonderful animals.
Yeah. I mean, they deserve a loving home just as much as any other cat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyone listening out there,
Yeah.
if you were to see a black cat today, just walking down the street,
Yeah.
what would your first thought be? Would you be thinking about all this folklore and superstition?
Right.
Or would you just see them for what they are, which is, with its own unique personality
Yeah,
and
so-
beauty and charm? There's something to think about, as we
Yeah.
learn more about these things and kind of grow and understand the world around us. So anyway, that was a fascinating deep dive.
It really was.
Glad we could do this.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya!